Technologies that had emerged from government-funded basic academic research were transformed by small biotech companies into completely novel products, which were then developed with funding from investors and through alliances with large pharmaceutical companies. We are hopeful that our efforts here will help shed light on how difficult and impressive that effort was, and how society's ability to respond to similar crises in the future will require all of the various parts of the biotech ecosystem to remain in good health. We bring a diverse set of backgrounds to this task. Two of us have primarily been biotech entrepreneurs, starting and running biotech companies in the United States and Europe that have completed IPOs, raised billions of dollars, formed alliances with dozens of companies, and been responsible for creating several new FDA-approved treatments for cancer and other diseases. We have also served as board members, strategic advisors, and venture capitalists, which has allowed us to be closely involved with biotech companies in nearly a dozen countries. One of us is a business school professor who has written extensively about the process of innovation and R&D management, has advised entrepreneurial startups, and has worked closely on research projects with numerous executives from the biopharmaceutical industry. Together, we have tried to combine the best academic research with thoughtful insights from our own experiences and from many industry colleagues who have been kind enough to share their views with us. Over the years, we have had the opportunity to speak to students in science, engineering, business, and even the humanities at Princeton, Oxford, Cambridge, Notre Dame, and other universities. These students have been interested in learning more about entrepreneurship and biotechnology, not only from an academic perspective, but also as a potential career direction. In many respects, this book represents the extended version of those talks we have given, our sense of what someone entering the industry might want to know. At the same time, we have tried to analyze the industry, especially as to the origins of important new medicines, in a number of ways that we believe may provide insights for both practitioners and scholars into how the business of drug development has changed over the last half-century. We owe a debt of thanks to more colleagues and coworkers than we could possibly list here, but we do want to mention the catalytic role of Stefan Scholtes, Richard Mason, and the Cambridge Judge Business School's Center for Health Leadership and Enterprise in bringing the three of us together and in giving us the chance to try out these ideas in Cambridge classrooms and lecture halls. In addition, Nectarios would like to dedicate this book to his parents, Kostas and Sophia. 1. Following the Map of the Genome. In 2000, two teams of researchers raced furiously toward the scientific achievement and personal glory of being the first to unveil the map of the human genome. Each group employed state-of-the-art biological tools and gargantuan computer systems to sift through the massive amounts of genetic information that could be derived from tweezing apart molecules floating in tiny tubes of blood. One team, headed by Francis Collins, was sponsored by the U.S. government, while the other, led by Craig Venter, was funded by a for-profit venture called Celera, one of the hundreds of young companies in America seeking to find new medicines in the modern science of biotechnology. Collins's government labs had $3 billion and a nearly 10-year head start, but Venter's group had a clever new approach, an entrepreneurial spirit, and an IPO-fueled billion-dollar bank account. In the end, it was a dead heat, leading to what Venter optimistically hoped might be an intellectual peace treaty after a period of often bitter and contentious competition. At a carefully choreographed press conference hosted by President Bill Clinton, Collins and Venter simultaneously announced the creation of a rough draft of the map of the entire human genome, what some have likened to the discovery of the Book of Life. Celera, at the turn of the millennium, was in many ways the very model of a modern major genetics company. It had no medicine to sell and marketed no product other than a database of the genes it found, a tool that could potentially be useful for other companies seeking to begin the long and arduous process of drug development. For access to hot-off-the-genomic map information, pharmaceutical companies were willing to pay dearly, and Celera recorded sales of $120.9 million for the 2002 fiscal year. Celera shareholders watched the genomic excitement drive their stock price up hundreds of % over just a few months. Celera was hardly alone in the miraculous Wall Street run-up.